Hi, I'm Kesenya and thank you so much for joining me for this week's Astro Weather Report. There's so much to share, there's so much going on in the skies and I'm delighted to be with you. Firstly, I just need to share that as a Pisces rising person and someone with a lot of water energy in my chart, there is a great deal of grief in me over the energy of fear that is present on the planet at this moment in time. And I know a lot of my clients have shared similar with me, that as empaths and people who are highly sensitized to these things, it is challenging and difficult to remain upbeat and positive, to live a life that's beautiful, because especially emotionally and energetically, because there is such a weight of fear and heaviness in the world right now. And that does grieve me. I want to just mention something that Lada from Astrology shared recently in one of her brilliant videos, and I highly recommend that you check out her videos. They are phenomenally good. Lada shared the work of a wonderful man named David Hawkins. Now, if you're familiar with the work of David Hawkins, he wrote a great book called Power versus Force. And he's done many, many other wonderful works of research around energetic levels and energetic testing, particularly like we might refer to it as kinesiology. He also developed a hierarchy of emotional states. Fear is one of the lowest, joy is one of the highest, and usually people fall somewhere along the hierarchy. You can Google that online if you would like to do so. But one of his messages through his research was that the biggest contribution we can make to the planet is to raise our vibrational level, keep our spirits up. And by doing that as an individual and sort of sharing our light, sharing our buoyancy with others and helping them to raise their vibration as well, to lift people into the light, that is the best thing that we can do to save the planet, to heal the planet, to create a brighter future for us all. And I would add to that, it's the best thing we can do to manifest the higher level energies of any given astrology chart, be it our own personal chart or the chart of the moment, of whatever's playing out in the world, by lifting our own vibration of optimism and joy, the energies of Jupiter basically, by lifting those up in ourselves and the people around us. That actually lifts the whole vibration of the planet up. And the darkness, the dark forces can be overcome through the energetic lifting of our vibration. It sounds easy, it sounds simple, and sometimes it's hard to do though when we're in the midst of this heavy weight of fear that's on the planet right now. So I wanted to mention what Lada spoke about here. It is so pertinent and so true. Raising our vibration is a source of healing, and sometimes, especially when we're in a situation like the world is in right now in lockdown, that's about all we can do, and even when times are free and prosperous and good, that is our greatest work, to raise the vibration of the planet by lifting our own first. Ways we can do that in these times, well, when you're at home, put on some music and have a dance and get that energy flowing through you of joy, of delight, upbeat music, bright music, bubbly music. Hello to April, who recently told me that she's been listening to the Beatles, and I applauded that because they're my favorite band. So, but anything that's upbeat, that's bubbly, that's bright, that you can dance to, that lifts the energy of joy in you. Singing is another thing you can do. Doing creative work, art, painting, lose yourself in the beautiful joy of creativity. Spend time in your garden. I mean, you know what brings you joy. Go there now when you can and try and lift your energy through the things that delight and lift you up personally. That's the best work that you can do for the planet in these days. Let's face it, our ordinary stresses of life have not gone away simply because the earth is in a state of fear right now. Our ordinary stresses are still there. What are we going to eat? What are we going to wear? Where are we going to live? And my relationships, how are they playing out? All these sorts of ordinary stresses still remain. And some of them are exacerbated now personally because of what's going on in the world. There's no denying that that's what's happening. My role as a personal astrologer is to see the potential and the positive energy available to all of us in our personal charts and also in my weekly astro weather reports to see what is the potential that we can manifest this week if we keep our vibration high, if we look for the goodness, the light, the blessing in every circumstance. Every planet, every sign, every house, you'll hear me say this often, is like a Chinese yin-yang symbol. There is shadow and light in everything. So there is good, there is evil, there is blessing, there is struggle. You know, every element of the chart carries an energetic potential. Even a trinal energy, if you're familiar with the trinal energies, like if you had a grand trine in your chart, what that represents is great opportunity for blessing and things landing in your lap in life. But there is a shadow side to that as well, in that everything just comes so easy. You become lazy. You don't actually take initiative and you don't make the most of the opportunities that come to you because it's all too easy. So there is shadow and light, even shadow and light in the perceived good things of the horoscope. So I consider that my role is to see the positive energy available to us even in the dark times. And as such, I'm going to continue to provide my astro weather reports for personal understanding at this time. And it's my intention to keep that as my energetic focus, the positivity, the potential. And as I break down each sign, as I will do later in this video, what's happening for each sign, it will be from a perspective of what's the best we can achieve with the energies that are currently playing out. So thanks for joining me. Now, right now in the world, we see a lot of educated guessing about what's going to unfold. Psychics, financial, economists, and everybody, and everyone in between is actually having educated guesses about what is going to happen. Even people who are channelers at the moment, they are finding that some things are being held back. Some things are not being revealed for various reasons known only to the astral entities. But so we can only but make an educated guess. Neptune's power play in all this is one of the reasons why the truth is not clear right now, especially with Mercury, the planet of communication. The truth is not clear for us all right now. And that's just the way it actually just has to be on the planet at this point in time. But I'm no exception to people who like to have a bit of an educated guess at things. And just before I get stuck into this week's weather, I want to talk about the energy of what is playing out in 2020 as I have seen in a vision, as I have had revealed to my spirit. Take it or leave it. It's entirely up to you. See how what I've got to say resonates with your own higher self, your own internal dialogue, and whether you want to take this on board or not yourself. So as I was researching for today's astro weather, I came across that, I was inspired to look into the charts of the 1930s, and it was fascinating what I discovered then. Particularly around the year 1936, which was the year of the Spanish Civil War. Now, if you're familiar with history, the Spanish Civil War began as an uprising of the people against the tyranny of the time. Unfortunately, that didn't result in the people establishing the type of political system that they wanted to, and they ended up going into the fascist rule that then spilled over into the 1940s. But the history of the Spanish Civil War is very, very interesting, and I'll tell you the astrological reason why I find that interesting in the light of today's events. In the general transits of 1936 were actually mirroring what we're having today. I'll explain what I mean. Uranus was in Taurus, as it is today. These are the big guns too. These are the big planets that move around the solar system, the sun rather, over a long period of time. So their placement in a chart is very, very powerful, because the longer a planet stays in a single position, the more oomph it will pack on as it emits energy onto planet Earth. Uranus was in Taurus, but Neptune, which is now in Pisces, back in 1936, Neptune was in Virgo, exactly opposite. Let's draw a line so we can, I might not actually, but this was where Neptune sat. in 1936. Pluto was in the sign of Cancer in 1936. Exactly opposite where it is today. The North Node was also in Capricorn, exactly opposite to where it sits today in the sign of Cancer. So the North Node was up here. So I hope you can see how things are mirroring. We've got Pluto opposite where he is. We've got Neptune opposite where he is. We've got the North Node flipped around the opposite way to what it is today. And we've got planets like Uranus in the same sign. This is quite a similarity. We are at a polarity point of 1936 and the events that unfolded in 1936 across the globe. I'm looking at the big outer planets because they bring generational shifts, generational change. The personal planets, Mercury, the Sun, Venus, even Mars, they're actually not quite as important in the big generational movements of our time. But it's these guys, these biggies that I'm talking about, that really create the momentum for change. Saturn was in the sign of Pisces, the sign of disillusion, the sign of loss, the sign of letting go and dissolving at this time. So I'll just draw a little dot just so that you can keep track of what I'm talking about. Here was Saturn in the sign of Pisces at this time. This is where the difference comes in between what was happening in 1936 and what is happening today. Everything is opposite, mirroring, or in the case of Uranus, the same. But Saturn is the only planet out of these biggies of the outer planets that's a bit different. And it is actually in a completely different sign, was in a completely different sign, Pisces, whereas today it's just moved into Aquarius. This is very important. The position of Saturn in what I'm about to share is very important. Saturn has just left Capricorn, the sign of hierarchical government structures. And guess what? He's moved into Aquarius, the sign of non-hierarchical government structures. And he will be there until July, and then he will move into that sign of non-hierarchical government structures, Aquarius, at the end of the year in December. And he will stay there permanently for about 2.5 years. So what am I getting at with all this? Well, I kind of have a feeling and an intuition, an educated guess, let's say, that we are about to see a mirroring of the events that unfolded in 1936, but with different outcomes. Because out of all these big planets, Saturn is the only one that actually represents the outer circumstances on planet Earth. Every other planet that I've talked about, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they correspond to our inner selves, our inner psyche, and the inner psyche of the generation that we are living in right now. Saturn represents earthly manifestation. So that's why Saturn's position this time is very important. So what do I think was particularly pertinent about 1936? Well, the Spanish Civil War was taking place. I've already mentioned that, but that was a result of a certain political movement that was taking place in Spain at the time. I'm going to share what that political movement was. Most of you will probably know. But you'll need to look at your screen in order to know what I'm about to share about. I have my reasons for sharing in this manner, but this was the political movement that was taking place in Spain in 1936. It didn't get up in the long term, but it certainly had a crack in 1936. Now, I'm not saying we're about to enter into any kind of civil war over that sort of thing. At the moment, that doesn't look like it's on the cards, but hey, who knows? But I certainly think the themes that were playing out that caused this in 1936 are themes that we will see come to the fore throughout this year with this mirroring effect that we are having in the skies right now. This time though, we have a chance to choose differently what the outcome will be. Let's raise our energetic vibration and make sure the outcome is better for the planet than maybe it was at that time. I want to share a particular quote with you by a brilliant philosopher. Many of you will know him, Noam Chomsky. He says about this Spanish Revolution and this political theory that we're talking about, that in the media and general commentary, the term is used to indicate chaos, bomb theory, disruption, and criminality. The actual meaning of the term, hope you can see that there, is quite different. It involves mutual aid, cooperation, and it is as close as you can get to pure democracy. The real popular control over all institutions, and by popular we mean control by the population, not by one or two. It sometimes indicates resistance, and usually leaderless resistance. I love this quote by Noam Chomsky, such a wise man with a wealth of knowledge to share. With that in mind, one of the things I want to point out to you is the placement of the nodes of the moon, which trigger so much in our lives. You cannot underestimate the vital importance of the nodes of the moon in a chart reading, in a person's chart, and also in what's happening on the planet. Back in 1936, we had the north node of the moon here in Capricorn. North node represents chaos. And what happened in 1936? Chaos with traditional hierarchies. Today, we've got the North Node opposite that, in the sign of Cancer. Instead, we've got the South Node here in Capricorn this time around. What does the South Node represent? Well, there's two big themes with the South Node. It can represent control. So there will be attempts to control by traditional hierarchies and hierarchical structures. But what does the South Node ultimately represent? The dissolution of something in order for us to rise up into something greater, something better. We may very well see, and many astrologers have been sharing this, preaching this, but we may very well see the dissolution of hierarchical structures now as a result of this. As I said, we have a chance to choose differently this time to last time we had these big player planets doing some of this work in our world back in the 30s, the mid-30s. So I want to encourage you, if you are interested in the political theory and the topic of, you can do some research online about it, and I would encourage everybody to. Look, I'm apolitical. I just steer as clear from politics as I can. What I'm sharing here is what I see could be an outcome that we are heading into right now in the world. So some of the ways you can check out more about this online that I encourage you to do are, firstly, you might like to have a look at some, I'm just choosing which one I'm going to share first here. I would encourage you to look up this documentary on YouTube. It is in Spanish. You will have to read subtitles, but you will not get a better documentary on the history of Spain in the 1930s and all about this political theory and how close it came to actually creating, as the title says there, living utopia. So that would be my first port of call. You will have to sit through subtitles if that's not your thing, but I'd encourage you to persevere. There is so much valuable information in that. The second port of call you might like to refer to are some interviews, highly educated interviews with political theorists and teachers that have been done on this person's YouTube channel. I would encourage you to check that out as well for more information about this particular type of theory. And I would encourage you to do so. As I said, I'm apolitical. I would encourage you to do so because it feels to me, it seems to me like we are heading into the potential beginning of this type of political theory rising up now. Something I find actually quite exciting. So the reason that I mentioned this is that this political theory is the only political theory that I'm aware of. There might be others. Please feel free to comment if there are other political theories that come under the rulership of Aquarius, where Saturn now sits. converse to the 1930s, when he was in, at the time of the Civil War, when he was in Pisces, dissolving, releasing, letting go, there was nothing was able to stick with this. Now we're in a fixed sign, fixed air. We're in a fixed sign with Saturn. What begins now in terms of political theory might actually stick. And what is ruled by Aquarius is this type of political theory. No leadership, leaderless running of society and community, and the status quo, the common people being equal with the rich and creating more equality, wealth equality, creating more of that utopian ideal society, which is all represented by the sign of Aquarius. So this is, to me, actually, this is the potential that this chart holds. Doesn't mean there won't be upheaval getting there, but this is the potential, and it would certainly be a far more beautiful outcome to see this type of thing stick than what happened following the 1930s, when this was dissolved, this opportunity was dissolved, and then we went into sort of the rise of fascism and dictators and so on. So for what it's worth, my 2 cents there, my educated guess about what is unfolding now on the planet and the changes that we may see rise up now. So take it or leave it, as I said. If you want to take that on board, do. If not, then move on. Let's take a look at this week's astrological weather for you at a personal level. So on the 24th of March, which has just passed, we have had a new moon in the sign of Aries. This is when, down here in Aries, the moon becomes invisible because it's overshadowed by the tremendous energy and light of the sun, so you will not see the moon in the sky. Now, one of my favorite astrologers that I love to follow is Susan Miller, and she says, and I'll quote, "A new moon opens a portal of 10 days where the actions you take during that time will change that realm of your life for the whole year ahead." So it's going to be very important to pay attention to what we are doing, how we are acting around each new moon this year in 2020, because it's going to affect us for the year ahead. In fact, that's true in any year. We need to pay attention to the 10-day window around the time of the new moon. So obviously for the next week, we're coming out of this energy of this new moon in Aries. So we need to pay particular attention to our behavior, our interactions, what comes out of thin air into our lives at this time. What are we feeling? What are we doing? We need to really look and evaluate that, knowing that it's going to be an energy that may remain with us for the year ahead. You might like to take a look at where you were at last time we had a new moon about 4 weeks ago in the sign of Pisces. What were you feeling? What were you doing? Where was your energy relating to where Pisces falls in your chart? And use that as an evaluation as well. But I'm going to be going through what this will mean for all signs at the end of this video. But do stick with me for the weather, the rest of the weather, because there's just so much happening that you really need to know about. The next thing that's going on is happening on the 29th of March. And to be perfectly honest with you, I am looking forward to this one. There's a lot of fear-mongering about it. I'm not that way. I'm like, this is good stuff. This is great. You might think differently when the 29th of March rocks around, but I'm excited about Jupiter making a conjunction with Pluto. This happens every 13 years. Now, this is happening at, sorry, I'm just checking my notes. It's happening at the degree of Pisces, 24 degrees. And what does Pisces represent? I've just kind of given you a bit of an insight there. It's about letting go. It's about loss. It's about dissolving and, dissolution of something. So when you've got the big planet of, these two are brothers, I might add as well. Pluto and Jupiter are actually brothers. They were the sons of Saturn, both of them, as was Neptune. So these guys are brothers. They can work well together. They're from the same family. This is very the positive aspects of the degree at 24 degrees, the degree of Pisces. The positive aspects is is more of a fanciful, fantasized look at the world, you know, the dreams, the visions, what could life look like, and what it's kind of connected to the utopian ideal as well. It's very much about, you know, people who are strong Pisces like myself, we want to escape from the world. So self-isolating is no big deal, you know, I love it. But we want to escape from the hurt and the horrors of the world, and in our heads we kind of tend to create our perfect scenario, our perfect world, our perfect ideal. And these are the energies of Pisces. It's kind of a visionary energy as well, a dreamy energy. So this is part of it also. It's not just all dissolution and letting go and so on. There is this beautiful visionary, dreamy, imaginative element that's quite beautiful in Pisces. As I said, this happens every 13 years. And look, if you look back through history, we're going to have a quick look back through history in just a minute. You'll see that it always brings a mix of good and bad, shadow and light. The yin-yang energy is present with this one. So we can expect the same to occur. I'll talk a little bit more about the planets and what they mean in just a minute, but let's have a look at the history now. The last time that we had a conjunction of Pluto and Saturn was in December of 2007, and this was the first hit. Usually we get 2 to 3 hits, usually, of Jupiter and Saturn making a connection every 13 years. And back in December 2007 was the first hit, and this is what we're having now, the first hit of a transit that for us in 2020 is going to last all year. We're going to get 3 hits to this planet all year long. But this is the first one. And this time, back in 2007, it happened at the degree of at 28 degrees of Sagittarius, which is the degree of Cancer. So what does Cancer have connections to? Protection, security, shoring up stability and so forth. And let's see what happened. Well, there were many extreme events actually that occurred back then, and they weren't all bad, as I said. Some of them, you know, were not so crash hot, but Queen Elizabeth was one of the better ones. She became the oldest reigning monarch in the history of the UK. So that was the first that was a good thing. But we did have things like the assassination of Benazir Bhutto that occurred in this week in 2007. We had the car bomb kill 45 people in the Algiers. We had the West Roads Mall massacre in Omaha, Nebraska. We had the Hebe Spirit oil spill in South Korea that occurred. So all of these things are very different kind of crisis situations or catastrophes. Pluto rules the, you know, catastrophes and crisis. Actually, it's more Uranus that rules catastrophes. Pluto is crisis. So we had, you know, generally the crisis of the oil spill and the, you know, assassination crisis. But this is what we saw. And also it was interesting to me to read that the Republic of the Lakota asserted its independence from the United States during this week as well. So these are some of the things that we've seen. And back 13 years earlier than that, in December 1994, again at 28 degrees, this occurred, 28 degrees of Scorpio, the degree of Cancer, again, protection, security, homeland, very much the nature of the what happened with the Lakota, you know, to protect their homeland and so forth. 28 degrees, the degree of Cancer. Again, in 1994, this happened. This time it was in Scorpio, though, and it was squared by Saturn and Mars, which, you know, terrible, a square to this conjunction of Pluto and Jupiter squared by Saturn and Mars. Well, what happened was, in the best sense of the word, we had the Nobel Prize awarded to both Israeli and Palestinian leaders for their efforts at peace in the Middle East. And so that was one thing. You know, we've got these world leaders, these powerful leaders. Pluto is power, with different belief systems. Jupiter, belief systems, getting awarded the Nobel Prize. There's some good stuff. We had construction beginning on the Three Gorges Dam in China, and we had a mixed bag, as is always the case, and will be the case this time as well. There were 310 people killed in a cinema fire in Karame in China. Russian troops entered Chechnya that week in 1994, and the Socialist Party won the Bulgarian parliamentary elections that week also. Now, going back 13 years earlier than that, we're looking, and this is as far as I'm going to go if you're getting a bit bored with history. I love history, so yeah. But on the last week of October 1981, we had another conjunction of Pluto and Jupiter, this time in the sign of Libra. So you can see we're going back by sign each time. So this was in 1981, it was in Libra, and again it was at 24 degrees, the degree of Pisces. Seems to be a bit of a reoccurring theme of dissolution that occurs with this. And so this was squaring the nodes, and Saturn was also in the mix. Saturn was in Libra, reasonably close to this conjunction as well. Bit similar to what we're seeing today. So what happened in 1981 in Libra at the degree of Pisces? Well, the US national debt topped $1 trillion during that week. There was the bomb attack that occurred on the Antwerp synagogue at that time. The USSR performed underground nuclear testing. And of course, Pluto rules anything nuclear. And this was big time stuff. Jupiter is big, expansion. And underground nuclear testing, obviously, Jupiter, Pluto going on there. Saturn does have some correlation to the ground as well. The aspartame was approved for domestic use in the USA during that week. There were 200,000 people demonstrating in Brussels against the cruise missile use. And a Soviet submarine ran aground on the east coast of Sweden that week as well. So these were the big world events that occurred with a Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. And I just mention these because they're a mix of what we see often happening at any time in the world. So I want to encourage people not to enter into a period of fear with Pluto conjunct Jupiter. There is no need. I mean, yes, these things are big, and yes, they cause some problems and so forth. But this conjunction this week is really, nothing more than what we see every week in the news, sort of all sorts of upheavals going on around the world a lot of the time. So I hope I've been able to sort of give some light to this. This is something that we can move through. It's not unusual, even though Pluto rules crisis and Jupiter is thought to expand the energy of crisis because Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So what is a theme, though, that I see playing out in each of these, around about each of these times is usually some financial concerns, and that is because Jupiter rules wealth and Pluto rules crisis. So usually we see some transformation of the markets or resetting of the stock market or financial situations or something, usually through a financial crisis or a recession or something like that resets things, that rejigs things. And Pluto represents the underworld and it represents transformation. But out of our underworld experiences, we blossom into more power and more expansion. Jupiter Pluto conjunction. So we might be able, we're already seeing it, but we can see this financial wobbliness that's going on now in the world as a result of coronavirus. And we need to ride this out. It is a financial resetting of the world systems economically and what have you that may well have needed to happen. And out of this is going to come opportunity. Out of this is going to come expansion, as it always has in the past, Every 13 years we get this resetting, this rejigging of the financial markets. So it is going to be a resetting, but it is going to bring new opportunity and fresh avenues and fresh streams now. That's what I think we can expect more than anything with this particular conjunction. So we can expect a mix of events, good and bad, as is always the case on Earth. But now what can I see happening for us at a personal, individual level with this conjunction? Well, I've got a bit of a fascination with sort of alternative sexualities. I'm not saying I am alternative, but I'm curious about it. And I'm curious how it displays in the chart. This is simply because my 5th house lord of love and romance and pleasure and sex and so forth sits in the house of sex with the planet Uranus. Anything alternative, anything a bit different. So I'm very curious about what those indicators are in an astrological chart. Uranus rules astrology as well. So having just exposed my alternative ideas online, I want to point out that this conjunction this time, Pluto, Jupiter, is happening in conjunction with the asteroid Pallas. Now, Pallas, in mythology, she was born from the head of Zeus. Not born in the conventional way from a woman through birth, but born from a man from the head, in the mind. And so Pallas, lots of research has been done about this. Pallas is an asteroid that has connections to gender confusion or gender disassociation with the gender you're born with. Pallas is very connected to that because it's a feminine planet feminine asteroid born of a man from the mind, issues in the mind, not in the conventional feminine way. So there are big issues here with Pallas, and at the same time, in that regard, good or bad, I'm not saying that I'm very neutral about this, but that's one of the things Pallas represents. And Pluto, on the other hand, is a planet connected to androgyny. And rules androgyny, and Jupiter is about beliefs and philosophies. So when all of these come together, we may, for example, have an experience that expands Jupiter, our mind and soul, regarding gender issues, regarding androgyny, an expression of androgyny in the world. We might find these things because Pluto likes to expose what is hidden in the world. We might find these things start to reveal themselves more. And why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't we have more acceptance and more love, that bountiful Jupiterian love for all types of expressions of sexuality and sexual identity? So we might find that bubbles up in society now through this conjunction as well. Pallas, the asteroid, also rules wisdom, courage, fighting, and usually fighting in a fair way. She was a bit of a warrior, but it was for justice and for truth, and she was is a goddess, and Pallas rules skills and strategies as well. So she was quite an air, like a strategist in the mind, type energy, very, all the things I've just described were ruled by Pallas. And so we'll see these things in our society, in our world, in our personal lives in the coming week as that gets a triggering. Pluto rules power, Pluto rules control, Pluto rules transformation. Pluto also rules extremism, rebirth, passion. And I must say I noticed some pretty awful extremism in the life of a person I'm very close to in the last couple of days before I recorded this, when Pluto and Mars made a conjunction, the extreme judgmentalism and aggression and rage that came up with this. So that was a triggering of Pluto-Mars. But this is a bit different. Pluto rules things, like I said, rebirth, passions, what you're passionate about. And Jupiter rules the good stuff. Unlike Mars, which can be a bit volatile, Jupiter rules the good stuff like joy and expansion. Jupiter rules belief systems and knowledge and wisdom. Divine guidance, divine intuition is also a Jupiterian thing. So we can expect combinations of these themes in our personal life to be present now in some way. This might look like for us that we're focused on creating success in our lives. Passionate. Pluto is passionate. Jupiter is success and prosperity. We might see, a real focus now and are willing to fight fair for, and use our skills for our success that we want right now. We'll get in there. We'll take action for success and have a focus and an intent on success. Pluto is the god of great wealth traditionally. Yes, he's the god of the underworld, but before he was that, he was the god of great wealth. And so when it combines with the planet of wealth, this is actually a signature that we often look for in the charts of the bazillionaires of the world. And so the whole world is going to be under this energy of great drive for success, great passion for success, great sort of almost obsession with success and business success, wealth, prosperity, and opportunities right now. Now, in a great crisis lies great opportunities. Sounds a bit like a Spider-Man quote, doesn't it? In great power comes great responsibility. But no, it's in great crisis lies great opportunities. I'm a big fan of Gone with the Wind, or I was when I was a girl. And of course, what is the big theme in that novel? It's, it's all about, there's many themes, and not all of them are good, I might add. But one of the themes is the rebuilding of life after the destruction through the Civil War. So it's similar. We're going through great crisis, and if we can see opportunities, if we have our eyes open, then we can rebuild our lives to be better than they were before. So Pluto conjunct Jupiter gives us the ability to look optimistically, Pluto is optimism, into crisis, Pluto, and see the opportunities for more success. But I need to add, it's really important, our morals at this time. If we have an attitude to this time of I'm going to exploit people, I'm going to be ruthless, I'm going to get what I want with as much violence and lack of integrity as I can, you're going to reap the karmic rewards. Remember, Pluto is a karmic planet and what you reap, so you will sow. So check your heart, check your morals, check your motivations for doing what you are doing this week. Are you trying to better the world? Are you trying to be generous? Are you trying to raise the vibration on the planet? Or are you seeking revenge, being ruthless or extremist? Are you being self-righteous, obsessive, even violent and rage-filled? Well, your beliefs and motivations and attitudes are what will define you now and are what will define the success that you receive. Jupiter rules the law. So acting in a lower level way, a low vibrational way, you're going to encounter the powerful force. Pluto is power, the powerful force of the law, especially if you're behaving in any illegal ways. Jupiter will bring the law down upon you. If we act in high-level integrous ways, then you'll not only see big achievements occurring and unfolding personally, but you'll also see spiritual growth. Jupiter is spirituality and Pluto is transformation. Your whole spiritual outlook on life and your spiritual direction for serving the greater good will transform and become more beautiful, more light-filled, more stepping into the blossom time. So this will all correspond to where Capricorn resides in your chart. Now, due to the length of this video, I'm not going to go into that for everybody. But for example, let's say you've got, say, Capricorn as your 11th house. Well, this might mean that there might be big rewards and gains for you. The 11th house is rewards and gains that come to you at this time through this conjunction. Or if maybe you have Capricorn as your 4th house, this might mean big transformations of a blessed nature in the realm of home and your domestic environment and your family relationships. There are a couple of examples. So, I'm not going to go into them. I'm sorry for those people who wanted me to. I might be able to do that at another time in another video if people would like. But that is what we're looking at in terms of the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. It's powerful, it's exciting, and it's going to play out all year. I might do an all signs review at one of the other conjunctions a little further on in the year. Now, the other thing that's happening is that Mars will be making a conjunction with Saturn on the 31st. This is going to last 3 days. It's happening at the 1st degree of Aquarius. Mars is our willpower. Mars is the god of war. Mars is our courage and our vitality. Mars is our enthusiasm and our energy. Saturn is restriction. Saturn is blockage at lower levels, but at high levels, Saturn is maturity, responsibility, duty, rules and regulations. So the highest manifestation of this combination happening on the 31st of March and for 3 days following, it's going to give us a spirit collectively and personally of endurance, of patience, combined with vigor and combined with energy. This is the highest manifestation we can reach for. Aim to channel this. I'm going to endure, I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to do it with great gusto, with energy and enthusiasm, not drudgery. I can't be bothered. You know, we're going to get on with the show. We're going to plant that veggie patch so we've got food to live self-sufficiently. You know, we're going to be patient, look to the future, and endure. It also, this combo represents determination and, as I said, patience. Now, the lower manifestations, and this is what we need to watch out for in ourselves at this time, and also when it happens in our outer world, understand where it's coming from. The lower manifestations of Saturn conjunct with Mars are anger, frustration, and vengeance. And these are difficult to deal with, let's face it, when we are receiving those energies from outer sources, or even anger turned inward on ourselves. It's hard, it's difficult, it's discouraging. Just know where it's coming from, okay? I've often heard this combination likened to a Coke bottle that's all shaken up and fizzy, and then you take the top off and the Coke just can't express quick enough. It is restricted and blocked, you know, just can't get out fast enough. And our anger and our frustration, we mightn't even be able to find words for it, you know, like we're so angry and something's blocking us and holding it in and it's not coming out fast enough, and we're frustrated and we're angry and we're full of revenge and it's yuck. Okay, so this can be the lower manifestation of this. Excuse the noises in the background. It's my children who are now home under lockdown, making themselves some lunch. So what can we do when we're in this Coke bottle-like energy of Mars conjunct with Saturn? Well, we can avoid risk-taking at this time. These 3 days, don't take any big risks. Don't do anything out of the ordinary or unusual. Play it safe. Take the conservative road, okay? You'll cope better if you do. Just for those 3 days. Creativity, there's some good stuff that can come out of this. Creativity can be blessed by your good work ethic right now. Mars is a very creative planet. It likes to instigate, it likes to start, it's full of good ideas. And the Saturn energy can give you the capacity now to work hard with your creative ideas and creative endeavors. So pay attention to your new thoughts, new ideas, new creativity at this time, and utilize it. Put it to work for yourself. You know, get stuck in. You will have the energy to endure. Whatever you create and initiate at this time has the potential to last a long time too. So let's invest that energy into something good. You might come up with a wonderful creative idea for making money from home during this difficult period in the world's journey and a difficult period with the economy. Trust it, go with it, look for that, you know, develop that endurance. Your creativity can be blessed by a good hard work ethic now. And the other thing that we can see coming out of this, and I've already sort of let the cat out of the bag with the fact that of my sexual makeup in my chart, but sexual endurance is heightened now too. Mars's sexuality and sexual expression, and when it is conjunct with Saturn, we have, you know, we can go all night. You know, it's all on. You know, for young and old. We're definitely young and old. Mars is a youthful energy, and Saturn's an older energy, so it is all on for young and old. But we have the capacity to have very long-lasting sex. So if you want to channel the higher energies of Mars-Saturn conjunction, you know what to do. Go for it, guys. Okay. So now I want to explore all signs, and we're going to do a whiz through. I'm not going to spend too much time, on these, and we're going to whiz through what is happening because of this new moon energy that I spoke of in the beginning, and how that's playing out for us over this week. So remember I said that actions taken now in the week following this new moon that relate to the house of the new moon, which is Aries, are going to affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. So let's take a look at what it is for all signs. Well, let's start with Aries. They love going first, so we'll indulge them. Here we have the new moon falling in the sign of Aries. So it's in this realm that you are going to affect change for the year ahead. So Aries people, the whole year ahead, that from this point onwards is going to change your life direction. What you are actually trying to achieve, how you are surviving, how your body is. You might get new beginnings in that realm. So how you're acting in the next 5 days, what you're noticing with regard to your body and your body's health, what you're noticing with regard to how you are surviving, your ideas for survival, the changes you need to make to survive and thrive, very first house issues, they are going to be very strong with you for the year ahead. So watch how you act in those areas over the next week. And recognize that these energies might be themes that will last with you for the year ahead. Take action to make good efforts towards looking after your body now. Make good efforts towards your survival and your thrival. Act with integrity. Maybe, don't act in fear and hoarding and what have you. Act with kindness, act with generosity, and you will receive kindness and generosity back to you in your ability to thrive and survive in the world. So monitor your actions with regard to survival and thrival and your care of your body. For Taurus rising people, Aries is their 12th house. So it's in these realms that you're going to notice an effect. In the next 5 days, the actions you see happening in your sphere right now are going to sort of play out for you over the coming year ahead. So we need to monitor our intentions, monitor our actions, and keep them at a high level as possible with relation to 12th house things. Now, this is relating to your creativity. Keep your creativity at a high level. Invest in creativity. Invest in studying spirituality now at this time, and you will then see throughout the coming year the positive manifestations of the 12th house playing out in your life to support your journey. So positive spiritual investment, read spiritual books, meditate, do yoga, have your own at-home spiritual retreat, take a bath, relax, take time out, create a little bit of escapism for yourself in your own home, do some dancing, maybe some singing, get creative, like I said, do a painting, write a poem, write a story, those kinds of things. They're going to help you a lot and set things up by lifting that vibration, set things up in that way for the year ahead for you. Because as I said, the actions, I'm quoting here, the actions taken now, 5 days after the new moon, will relate to the house of Aries, where the new moon was, and they'll affect you and change that realm of your life, Aries, for the year ahead. So your spirituality will be affected and uplifted, your creativity will be affected and uplifted, and that's what you want. You don't want the shadow side of the 12th house coming into play, which is loss, which is disillusion, which is, the demise of things and the dissolving of things that are precious to you. Maybe the dissolving of, unwanted karma and stuff. That's a winner. But focus on the high level things right now, and you'll see that the goodness of that play out for you over the year ahead. Gemini rising people. Well, the energy of Aries is falling as your 11th house. Now, as I'm quoting here, the actions taken at the time of the new moon in Aries, any actions that are taken that relate to the house of Aries will affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. This is the realm of rewards and gains that you receive, your visions, your goals, your aspirations, and your friendships. So keep those things, keep those realms of your life at a high vibrating level, and you will see blessings in those areas last for a year ahead. If you go into the, I'm going to be nasty to my friends, I'm going to take the ruthless road with regard to getting my goals and dreams into fruition, I'm going to, cheat to get some award or whatever. If you take the nasty road, you will receive nasty things back and things going wrong in that realm for the year ahead. So take the high road. Make your actions high level. Do kind things for your friends this next 5 days, and you will receive kindness from your friends for the whole year ahead. Invest your time and energy and enthusiasm and joy into your dreams and goals and aspirations right now, and you will receive joy from your dreams and goals and aspirations over the year ahead. Okay, if we are Cancer rising people, this is putting the energy of Aries into the 10th house. What this means, now I'm quoting here, that actions taken at the time of the new moon and 5 days after that relate to the house of Aries where the new moon is are going to affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. So this is the realm of career, worldly aspirations, and the legacy that you want to leave for those who come after you. It's in this realm that you can affect how things will play out in that area for the next year ahead based on what you do in these 5 days. So sorry about the noise in the background. As I said earlier, my children are home from school under lockdown, so they're a bit noisy. Keep the energy, the vibration, Cancer people, at a high level in regards to the worldly aspirations that you want to achieve, the legacy that you want to achieve. Maybe you've always wanted to write the next great fabulous War and Peace novel, and you get the chance now. You sit down and you write it, and put your joy into your worldly aspirations, the things you want to achieve, what you want to be remembered for and known for right now. Send your energy of joy and highest vibration into those things, and you will see that they will play out with rewards for you over the year ahead. If you are moping and sort of about, I can't be bothered and never works out for me and life is so unfair, and you're really vibrating at a low level regarding career, worldly aspirations, and the things you want to achieve, then you will tend to find those repercussions lasting for you all year long. So you want to avoid that now in the next 5 days in order to shore up the blessing that may be available through even this difficult year of 2020. Okay, Leo rising people, well, this energy of Aries is falling for you in the 9th house, the luckiest house in the horoscope. So go you Leo people, this is actually very nice. New moon in the 9th house. So I'm quoting here, the actions taken at the time of the new moon in Aries and relating to that house, for Leo it's the 9th house, are going to affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. So this is where we need to keep our vibrational energy directed at a high level now for the next 5 days, so that we can manifest blessings in this realm of life for the year ahead. And this is to do with inspirational figures, it's to do with cultural experiences and philosophical expansion. They're basically the summary of the 9th house. There's a lot more to the 9th house than that, but that's the summary. So we need to, as Leo rising people, we need to actually create good relationships with our mentors, our inspirational figures. We need to reach out in kindness to love and support those who mentor us, those who inspire us. Send them a kindly message, leave a good comment on their YouTube channel. Do something, some kind of kindly action towards your mentors and your inspirational figures, and even father figures right now as well. In doing so, you will create a momentum of high vibrating energy for you in this realm that will come back to bless you throughout the year ahead. You can also invest in, cultural experiences. Okay, most of us are under lockdown and, it's difficult to go out and be about, but you can create a cultural experience in your own home. Gather your children around you if you've got children, or sit with a friend or a loved one, or, whatever your situation might happen to be, and watch a cultural film. Maybe you could watch that Spanish documentary that I recommended in the beginning of this video. I encourage you to do that. And, you know, immerse yourself in cultural experiences in your own home if necessary. And in doing so, create a greater vibrational energy there, a high vibrating energy related to other cultures, a joyfulness in other cultures, a delight in other cultures, an expansion of your mind with regard to other cultures. And the same can be said about philosophical ideas and knowledge. In this 5 days, you might choose to undertake some sort of a course. You know, an online course in tarot reading, or an online course in maybe more likely to be some sort of religious belief system, or studying ancient history, or maybe looking at the history of wars. This is the sign of Aries, after all, the god of war. History of wars. You might, you know, do some sort of bit of study about that and up level your knowledge, expand your knowledge. In doing these things now at a high level, with joy, with love, with happiness, you can lift the vibration of your energy and the world's energy. If instead you choose to attack some sort of mentor or spiritual guru or something like that, or guide, I don't know why people would do that, but they do. If you choose to attack, if you choose to be nasty, if you choose to sort of lash out at a father figure or some sort of inspirational figure in the world, or you choose to maybe, you know, run down other cultures and demean other cultures and other belief systems in some way, shape or form, then you can expect that the lower energies of the 9th house will come into your life over the year ahead. Because as I said, and I'm quoting here, whatever action we take in this area of life for the next 5 days is going to set us up for what we will receive back from this house for the coming year ahead. Virgo rising people. This energy of Aries for Virgo rising people is happening to fall in the 8th house. Now, I want to quote here. This is where the new moon has occurred, and now we are looking at a 5-day window from now on where the actions taken that relate to this house of Aries will affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead, based on the actions you take for the next 5 days and what you see playing out in your life. So in order to reap the biggest harvest of this, in order to see the best benefit of this over the coming year, you want to keep your vibration at its highest level. And in the 8th house, that can mean looking into, say, spiritual topics, shamanic topics, mysticism topics with joy, with happiness, with delight right now. So immerse yourself in those things over the next 5 days. Do some spiritual reading. You know, perhaps you might look into shamanism, and you might look into rituals and the idea of and purposes of rituals and ceremonies and that sort of thing. You might like to also look into financial stock markets or something like that, and start exploring those things with great joy, great delight, keeping your vibration high. And you may actually start to see the rewards reaped for you in your own life over the year ahead from those things, by keeping your vibration high around those things. You might also find that if you were to use your lower manifestation of energy and you looked at the stock market and you tore your hair out and said, oh my God, what's going to happen to humanity? Oh, fear, which is David Hawkins' lowest vibration of his hierarchy. And you know, that energy of, oh, woe is me, if you direct that into your exploration of the stock market, or you look at shamanism or other sort of alternative spiritualities and occult practices, and you're critical and you're angry at them and you're sending low vibrations into those things, then you're going to reap low vibrations back in those realms for the year ahead. So I will encourage you all, if you are Virgo rising, go for the higher manifestation, not worry, not fear. Go instead for the higher manifestation of what can this beautiful energy bring me? What are the opportunities here? Remember, this is an opportune house. It is the house of dying to something and being reborn into something better, transformation. Look at it through that lens and create a higher vibration as you look at the crisis that's unfolding in the world right now. Don't go into worry, don't go into panic, go into the idea of restoration that's occurring here. Very 8th house, restoration, regeneration, rebirth. These are ideas of the 8th house. Keep that focus, keep the energy level high, and you are going to reap beautiful rewards throughout the year ahead. Libra rising people. Well, for you guys, the new moon energy of Aries fell in your 7th house. So I'm quoting here, the actions taken at the time of the new moon for about 5 days before and 5 days after that relate to the house of Aries are going to affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. So if you are Libra, what have you experienced in the last 5 days, and what actions are you taking in the next 5 days regarding relationship that you can then expect to experience in the coming year? So it's in relationships, you know, are you putting in right now your highest energetic manifestation into relationships? Are you seeking joy in your partnerships? Are you seeking collaboration at a high vibrating level? You know, you're delighting in the company of your partner, or are you absolutely sick to death of your partner? You're like, oh, get away from me, I can't stand being with you anymore, just give me my space, just nick off, you know, I can't handle this any longer. If that's the energy you're feeling, know that that's what, at this time of the new moon, that may very well be what plays out for you for the coming year ahead. So it's up to you now to take an active choice, make a decision. What kind of energy are you going to throw into your relationships now that will then result in what manifests over the coming year? It's up to us. We do have free will. High level manifestation or low level. Are you going to give love to your partners, or are you going to say enough's enough? I'm so angry at you. You piss me off. I've had a gutful. Maybe you might feel that way, but what actions are you going to take? What are the energies in your environment right now? So do look at that, consider that, and take the appropriate course of action to give you the best result for what you need in the year ahead. Scorpio rising people, well, you guys are going to have the energy of Aries falling in your 6th house. Now, I'm quoting here, actions taken at the time of the new moon, in this case in Aries, that relate to the house of Aries, 6th house for you guys, are going to affect you and change that realm of life for you in the whole year ahead. So essentially, we've got a 5-day window from now, in the time of the new moon, for 5 days, to make active choices about the energy we bring to our 6th house experience in order to generate positivity and blessing in that realm of our life for the year ahead. So either for Scorpio rising people, you can either send into this the energy of disease and woe is me and oh, I feel so sick, and worry, 6th house energy, worry I'm going to get coronavirus, and there's not going to be enough food for us all, and worry that I don't have enough toilet paper in my cupboard. And you can direct energy into worry about your daily life, worry about disease, worry about poverty, and feeling that sort of low level fear, low vibrating fear. Either you can utilize, if you utilize the low vibrating energies, you're going to receive back low vibrating energies for the year ahead. And this is according to, as I said, professional in my intro, which I recommend listening to, according to professional astrologer Susan Miller. Now, the results of this energy, if you direct positivity into these realms of life, if you direct hope, if you direct love, if you direct kindness and joy, the higher vibrating levels into your 6th house themes, then you're going to see the results. If you're doing that over the next 5 days, then the results that you receive over the year ahead from your 6th house activities are going to be blessed and beneficial. So you want to direct love and kindness towards your work colleagues. You want to direct love and kindness towards your enemies. Enemies are seen by the 6th house. You want to direct compassionate service to people who are suffering in the world, if you can. If there's something you can do to help, people who are less fortunate than you, who are not as in such an advantageous as you might position as you might find yourself, helping those who are more lowly. Like, this is the house of people who are lower than us in the societal thing in terms of education or wealth, or in terms of their health and well-being as well. Helping people, serving people is a way, with love, with joy, got to come from the heart. Motivations have to be good. That's where we direct our energy to lift your vibration and receive the blessings of the sixth house for the year ahead. Good health, good vitality, good daily routine, and the chance to fix problems, to step away from the demise of society and instead fix the problems, resolve the issues. This is a house of fixing things. So channel that higher energy, Scorpio people, and we will see an uplift of vibration on the planet. Sagittarius energy. Okay, guys. So for you, this is falling in the lucky fifth house. And I'm quoting here, Aries is your fifth house. Actions taken at the time of the new moon, which happened on the 24th, that relate to the house of Aries will affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. And for you guys, this is the fifth house realm. So you have a choice. You have free will now, guys. Either you manifest the higher level energies of the fifth house or the lower level energies of the fifth house. You direct that, and whatever you choose to do will result in what you receive for the coming year ahead. And this being conscious of our vibration in this way for the next 5 days is very, very important. So new moon in Aries, in the fifth house for Sagittarius, the lower vibrational energies of this would be to act with fear and maybe being a bit aggressive towards your children and being fearful in your actions towards your children and being dominating and scaring them with stories of coronavirus and creating non-resilient children basically through injecting that lower vibration of fear and anger and frustration and lack of love, lack of trust in the universe and kindness. So children are seen here. Also doing that with lovers as well, acting in anger towards a lover, acting in rage towards a lover, or being rude and mean and just yuck. Lower vibrating energies directed towards lovers. Your creativity can suffer if you choose to take the low road. This is a house of creativity. If you choose over the next 5 days to sort of I've done this before. You're sewing a dress and you get so pissed off because it's not coming together the way you want that you rip it in half. Well, I haven't ripped it in half, I've thrown it across the room, but rip it in half and, kick the cat, and your creative endeavors may then not be very fulfilling for you for the year ahead based on the energies that you impart to your creative endeavors at this time. Conversely, if you choose the higher vibrating energies, then at this time you might receive blessings through love for your creativity, choosing love, choosing joy, choosing delight in your hobbies and the things that give you pleasure, fifth house, choosing love, choosing delight, choosing joy, and choosing to have pleasurable times with your children, with your lover, with anyone that you're romancing, even if it's just online because you can't actually be together in person with your lover or your romantic other half. By choosing the higher vibrational energies at this time consciously and making an effort to, you will receive back benefits and blessings from the universe for the year ahead until the next new moon occurs in the sign of Aries. So for Capricorn peeps, you guys, wow, haven't you been through the ringer? Phew. Not long to go now, guys. You've stuck it out for a couple of years. We're coming to the end for you guys of all these planets in your sign. But we're looking at the new moon in the sign of Aries, which of course falls for you in the fourth house. I'm quoting here, actions taken at the time of the new moon and for 5 days after, 5 days before, 5 days after, that relate to the house of Aries will affect you and change this realm of your life for the year ahead. This is the fourth house. So the energy that you give to your fourth house environment, your home, your family life, your domestic situation, the energy that you give is going to determine, for the next 5 days, it's going to determine what you receive from that area of life for the whole year ahead. So I want to encourage you, go for the higher level energies. This is our free will. You might like to, set an intention of, as a family, we're going to play a board game every evening for the next 5 days, and we're going to bring joy into our home through laughing at some board game, or through, doing Pictionary together, or we're going to watch a comedy movie on the TV together. We're going to create, as a family, an energy of joy and delight and pleasure and happiness in our family home. We're going to intentionally do this. We're going to seek the highest manifestation of this new moon energy in Aries. You might like to, might get a kick or some joy out of painting a room a fresh new color, or doing some sort of bits of renovations or something like that needs doing, some beautifying, fixing something up. That can bring you a sense of satisfaction and joy. The lower manifestations of this energy right now might be to go into a state of fear. That's a low vibrational energy, according to the work of David Hawkins. Fear, panic, freaking out, saying, no, kids, we won't have that second scoop of ice cream because we've got to conserve everything that we have right now, and you can't have another scoop of ice cream, and creating an energy of fear and a destructive, low vibrating tone in your home is going to reap that, for the next 5 days, will reap that low vibrating energy in your life for the rest of the year. And you don't want that. So seek the higher vibrational energies in your home, in and around your home, and create that energy within your home space. Even if that means you've got to go around with a saging stick and a singing bowl, burn some incense, get rid of the old negative energy if you've got some there, and create beautiful flow and beautiful chi, and create a better energy in your home over the next 5 days to allow blessing to come in for you for the year ahead in that realm. Okay, Aquarius people. Well, Aries, where the new moon occurred just yesterday on the 24th, has fallen in your 3rd house. This is where the new moon has taken place. And so for you guys, Aquarius rising people, I want to read a quote. Actions taken at the time of the new moon, any new moon, but this one's in Aries. Actions taken at the time of the new moon that relate to the house of Aries in this case will affect you and change that realm of your life for the year ahead. So we have this now 5-day window. Usually it's 5 days before and 5 days after. We've got this 5-day window at the time of the new moon to create good, sorry about the noises in the background, to create good energies for our whole year ahead in the realm of the 3rd house. And the 3rd house rules our siblings. It rules our teammates, rules our co-workers. The 3rd house rules our skills and our abilities, our networking, our ability to learn and communicate. And it also rules small business. So it's in this realm that you can either channel the higher energies and then receive blessings for the year ahead, or you can channel the lower energies and receive more low energies into your life for the year ahead. What does this look like? Well, if you want to channel the lower energies into this, you could be acting with David Hawkins' low vibrational energy of fear and worry regarding your skills and abilities, regarding small business, regarding your siblings or your co-workers. That's to worry, to fear, to be angry, to be aggressive with all these things, to act with poor motivations such as, ruthlessness or vindictiveness in the realm of, communication. If your communication's aggressive and nasty and bitter and you're leaving shitty, rude comments all over YouTube and stuff like that, then you're going to reap that for the next year ahead. So do be careful. If you want to manifest the higher vibrational energies of the 3rd house, then I would encourage you to spend time journaling, writing out your feelings, and searching your soul. You might also like to leave some positive comments all over YouTube at this time. You might like to bring an energy of love and kindness towards your siblings in some way, some act of generosity or act of benevolence. You might also like to channel higher vibrational energies into your small business, and I know small businesses are suffering right now. There's no doubt about it. These are difficult times regarding business and trade. But what can you do that's an act of kindness for your business right now? That's an act of kindness for you as a trader right now? Maybe, I don't know, it might be, instead of, struggling to keep going and keep going and keep going, you say, right, well, I'm going to pare back. I'm going to allow myself some space, and I'm going to work, say, 2 days a week instead of 5 days a week, and just give myself that break. And it might mean I have to tighten my belt, but I'm going to feel more at peace with doing that, or less stressed, shall we say, in doing that than I will if I try to persevere and push and I'm getting nowhere in this current economic environment. I'm not sure. Everyone, obviously, who's watching this and's got their own small business is going to have a different scenario that's playing out. So obviously I can't address everything for everyone. But if there is some way you can bring an energy of love into your small business, into your networks. This is online networks as well. Like I said, leaving good comments on YouTube. There's some way you can bring an energy of love to those realms of your life. You will reap rewards in those areas of your life for the year ahead. So it's essential that you raise your vibration to the highest level you can manage at this time in the realm of the third house. And finally, thanks for sticking with me once again, beautiful people, beautiful Pisces, patient people. We are patient. This energy of Aries is falling in your second house. So this is where we are going to focus our attention for the next 5 days. Now, I'm quoting here, the actions that are taken at the time of a new moon, 5 days before and 5 days after a new moon, that relate to, in this case, the house of Aries, are going to affect you and change that realm of your life for the whole year ahead. So for Pisces rising people, this is our finances and our resources and our self-love. And I want to encourage you guys to take the highest manifestation you possibly can with these things in order to receive benefit for the year ahead. So that might be by putting mantras up all over your house for the next 5 days. I am worthy. I am lovable. I expand to meet my destiny. I deserve good things. Lift your self-worth as much as you can. Delight in that. Sing about it. Make a song about you are worthy and, I'm worthy. Make a song about that. Lift the vibrational energy with love and joy and kindness regarding self-worth, and you will receive positive self-worth over the year ahead. Also, lift the vibration around money as much as you are able to at this time. That might be, get excited about maybe buying some shares or something, or get interested in, how you are making money. Look for new ways to make money and start to think entrepreneurially. Aries is a very entrepreneurial sign. Think entrepreneurially about money and bring a sense of joy to that. Bring a sense of happiness to that. Bring a sense of excitement and delight to that, and you will receive throughout the year ahead the blessings of joy and excitement and delight in monetary circumstances and accumulating possessions and so forth for the year ahead. I also want to encourage you to steer away from negative energies, lower vibrations in this first house. Don't go down the second house. Don't go down the rabbit hole of, I'll never get where I want to go. I'm just useless. I can't achieve. I've been trying for so long and nothing ever happens for me because I'm just worthless. Don't go down that rabbit hole now of self-depreciation and lack of love for self, because, oh my God, you will be doomed for the year ahead to experience that sort of thing if you do right now. Instead, channel the higher manifestations. And don't go down the lower vibrational levels of fear regarding money at this time. I know it's hard. I know it's hard when the world's in a state of upheaval, but don't go into a vibration of fear with money. Go into your beautiful imagination, Pisces. Imagine what the world could look like. Dream about what financial blessing could actually result out of this crisis and be born out of this crisis. Dream about the utopian society that could actually evolve for us all in a world of equality where everyone received exactly what they deserved and to have a good, healthy, happy whole life. Go into your imagination, utilize that Pisces energy and create a high vibration around money right now. Dream and enjoy it and create a high vibrational energy around money rather than a lower, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm so afraid, panic, panic, fear, fear. And you are going to thrive and survive with these things for the year ahead. So that is all signs, looking at the new moon and the energy that we can make a choice about to bring more blessing into our life, whoopsies, for this whole year ahead. And isn't it important to consider not only right now and the week ahead in our lives and to act with integrity in our lives right now, but to also consider how it's going to affect us, how we behave now, how it will affect us for the whole year ahead. Thanks so much for joining me. I know this has been a long video. I hope I've been able to share some insights and some encouragement and hope with you. Let's close with a prayer. Energy of love in the universe. What an amazing universe it is. We are so excited to be a part of this period in time. Even though it's full of upheaval, we know that we have been born with a purpose, with a reason to experience this energy at this time, and hopefully to raise the vibrational energy on the planet to higher levels that will result in blessings being born out of this situation that the world is in right now. Help us to lift our vibration this week. Give us little things that trigger our gratitude, that trigger our joy, that trigger our delight, so that we can lift ourselves up and others up and be a blessing to the greater good of the earth. And so it is. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I'll have another personal astrology weather report for you next week.